What up, what up, what up, everybody? What's good? What's cracking? What's popping? We back for another one. We back in here, man. Y'all know what's up, man. You gotta Pacquiao that like button for me. One time, let me know you in here. Drop me a comment. Let me know who I got up in here. And then we gonna roll with it. I'm gonna test the audio out real fast. Alright, we good. Alright, y'all got some new news, man, with this Pacquiao Terence Crawford situation. Wanted to come through, for a few minutes and just let everybody know what I feel like is going on right now. Well, not what I feel like, what is going on right now as far as Terence Crawford and Manny Pacquiao's negotiation situation. And other new news surrounding Pacquiao and other fights. There's the Adrian Broner fight going down this weekend. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be making some content surrounding that. Renz, what's cracking? Yo, Red, shout out. What's good, Renz? Appreciate you for coming through, man. Appreciate you. Good to see you, bro. But yeah, I think I'm going to make some content around that fight, man. I might actually go live for that fight. So if y'all want to check it out, come back through tomorrow. I believe it's on. I think it's on Showtime, but don't quote me on that. So I'll give a couple more minutes, man. See who we can attract in here before I get started. Hope everybody's having a pretty good day. News is dropping like crazy, man, surrounding this fight. A lot of people got a lot of things to say. A lot of boxing channels is giving their take on the situation. A lot of people seem to be favoring Pacquiao in this fight. When I go check out other people's content or check out articles, it seems like a lot of people are favoring Pacquiao in this fight. So very interesting, very interesting. I can't wait to see how this whole thing is gonna play out, man. All right, y'all. So I guess I can go ahead and get ready to get started. So you know me, I'm always going through articles, checking out new things, man, trying to see what's the latest. And the Inquirer.net, they have a new article out. Pacquiao wants huge purse for Crawford bout. And I wanted to, break down this article and just talk about how I think this might impact the potential fight with Terence Crawford and Manny Pacquiao. I know I hate that word ducking, man, but, a lot of people are using that word when it comes to Terence Crawford and what they feel like he's doing. They feel like he's ducking Pacquiao if he don't take this fight, man. Let me know what y'all think about that. If he don't take this fight, obviously he don't, him and Bob Arum feel like Crawford can't beat him. I would have to ride with that 100%. I wouldn't be able to say that, they're not taking the fight because, the money's not right. It would be the biggest payday he's ever gotten in his whole boxing career. So I can never say, the money's not right, but let me get into this article. Manny Pacquiao legacy fight is taking shape as boxing's only 8-division champion is leaving it to Bob Arum to act on his reported $40 million asking price. So, that's one thing I wanted to touch on first. So, I'm not sure what's going on with this $40 million. If Pacquiao and his investors have the $40 million already, or if Pacquiao is expecting and his investors are expecting Bob Arum to put up the $40 million, which I don't understand because Pacquiao has Caps and Full G was cracking. Caps was cracking, bro. Because Pacquiao and his team, they have MP Promotions, behind them. They have PBC Promotions behind them. They have Adi Attar and Paradigm behind them. So, and I'm not sure why he would be expecting Bob Arum to put up the whole $40 million, but that's what they're making it seem like, that they're expecting Bob Arum to put up the money for some reason. I don't get that part, but I'll read it once again. Manny Pacquiao legacy fight is taking shape as boxing's only 8-division champion is leaving it to Bob Arum to act on his reported $40 million asking price. The top-ranked boss, Pacquiao's promoter, didn't immediately reply to messages from the Inquirer on whether he's willing to pay Pacquiao that much to fight his current cash cow, Terence Crawford. So, I don't understand what they mean by why would Bob Arum have to pay. If anybody knows why they're expecting Bob Arum to pay the $40 million and not Pacquiao's side and the investors that said they've already got Pacquiao's money. This is what's confusing me about this whole situation, because they're making it seem like Bob Arum has to come up with the $40 million, and I don't get that, because all reports that I've read up until now have said that there's an investing group in the Middle East that have Pacquiao's $40 million. But the last few articles I've read have said, like the last 2 or 3 have said that they're expecting Bob Arum to come up with the $40 million for Pacquiao, which I don't really understand. I don't get that part of it. So if anybody can clarify that, please let me know in the chat. Pacquiao, however, is ready to take the ring again, regardless of who he'll face, flying to his hometown, General Santos City, on Friday night to resume training at his very own wild card gym there. And that's new news to me, because I thought he was already in the U.S. They were making it seem like when he dropped that news about his $40 million, $10 million split, that he was already training in the U.S. But apparently he was only training in the Philippines, and has just now took his training camp from I guess Molina to General Santos City to finish up training camp. We can go on here. That's very interesting though, because there are pictures that recently came out with Freddie Roach and Justin Fortune and Manny Pacquiao all together. So I assumed that they were all in California. My mistake, they're not actually in California. They're actually in the Philippines, in General Santos City as of today. So, it actually makes a lot of sense, because if they're planning, I was wondering why he would have came all the way to America just to go back overseas to the Middle East. So it would make sense for him to stay over there, train over there, and then go from the Philippines to wherever they plan on having the fight at in the Middle East. So let's move on. It's better that he trains here instead of Molina, said a trusted aide in General Santos. There are less distractions. Pacquiao going up against the talented Crawford would be a fitting final fight for the Filipino ring icon. And Arum has been reportedly peddling that matchup in the past. That's new news as well. They're saying that Pacquiao going up against the talented Crawford would be a fitting final fight for the Filipino icon. So interesting here. You got Justin Fortune saying one thing. You got Justin Fortune saying that if they go through Terence Crawford, they're going straight into a Earl Spence fight in September. But now you have the Inquirer in the Philippines saying that Manny Pacquiao fighting Terence Crawford could be his potential final fight of his boxing career. So conflicting news coming out in the past 2 days. I'm not sure which one to lean on. Make your choice. And if you're in the Philippines, you probably have a better idea what's going on than everyone in America, because you're closer to Team Pacquiao. But at the moment, I'm just reporting what's out there, man. And this came out just a few hours ago, so this is brand new news. And Arum has been reportedly peddling that matchup in the past. Crawford, the World Boxing Organization welterweight champ, is widely considered the best dog in the pond. Arum's problems matching Pacquiao's offer will center on the fact that there likely won't be any live audience to generate gate revenues. So this is some more new news coming out here. Arum's problem matching Pacquiao's offer will center on the fact that there likely won't be any live audience generating gate revenues. Dubai, one of the possible venues, has also recently closed its doors due to C-19 cases in its neighbor Doha already shattered the third window of the FIBA International Boxing Federation Asian Cup quarters that was supposed to be played there late this month. Pacquiao's last fought in July 2019, beating younger and stronger Keith Thurman. His long absence, though, forced the World Boxing Organization to declare him champion in recess. Now, I don't know if y'all heard that, but I was basing a lot of this, in his purse off the fact that they would potentially have a live gate in the Middle East. But from what they're saying is Dubai is shut down now due to their neighboring city having rising cases of C-19 going on. So that kind of shuts the door on a live gate. Possibly, depending on where they take it, there might be other places they could take it. But that really puts a hamper on things, if you ask me. And as far as him being off for so long, I don't really think that matters at this point. I actually think it plays a little bit in Pacquiao's hands that he hasn't been taking a beating for the last year and a half. But very interesting, man. Let me know what y'all think down in the comment section so far. What do y'all think they take this fight to, being that Dubai is going to be closed down for, I guess, live audiences? Maybe they'll allow a few people in, but not what we were as Pacquiao fans, and I guess what Team Pacquiao was expecting, maybe 20, 30,000 people. Now, all this is supposed to take place in a couple of months. Things might open back up, but these events have to be planned in advance, so you're not going to plan to not have anybody in the audience, I don't think. So very interesting. Me personally, man, I feel like they can still make the fight. Maybe Pacquiao has to come down on his price a little bit, maybe not the $40 million. I think maybe they they don't allow an audience on purpose to force Pacquiao to come down on his price. It's possible, would that be the reason that they don't have a live gate? I doubt it, but it's possible they might do that just to bring down the price tag of the fight a little bit. But I'm not sure where else they could take it to have a live gate other than maybe Florida. I heard they have a new stadium down there in Florida, but I'm pretty sure Florida has some pretty strict restrictions on what they're going to allow as well, as far as having a live gate. I know there's always, it's Dubai, and then there's Qatar over in the Middle East. So they might be possible they could take it to Qatar in the Middle East. I think that's what they were talking about at first anyway. I think when they were first talking about Pacquiao fighting Crawford, I think they were talking about taking it to Qatar. So they didn't mention Qatar in the article, so there's a possibility they could take it there, and maybe things will be open a little bit more. I had to go look up news in Qatar. I don't speak any Arabic. I speak a little Arabic, but I don't speak much Arabic, and I definitely can't read it very well. So hopefully I can get some translated articles coming out of Qatar to see if they're the front runner for that fight. Let me see if I can find any more articles before I move on real quick here. It's going to be interesting if this fight actually takes place, because not only are they having the dynamic of the money, now they're having the dynamic of Terence Crawford and Bob Arum actually going to accept, the fight because of the risk for Crawford if he loses. A lot of people feel like Crawford is just a bad matchup for Pacquiao, not because they think he's going to beat Pacquiao, but they think he's going to lose to Pacquiao. So a lot on the line right now, man. A lot on the line for Terence, Team Crawford. A lot on the line for Bob Arum. Let me check this out, see if I can find some new articles real fast. How's everybody been doing today? Who all we got in here, man? Y'all Pacquiao that like button for me, man. So we can get some more people into the chat. Drop me some comments. Let me know what y'all think so far about what is what has happened in the past few hours, man. Let me see here. News. I want the news. All right, Gervonta Davis named as a driver in hit and run that injured 3. Oh wow, got some breaking news right there, man. I need to go. I will go ahead and get into this real fast. Unrelated news: Gervonta Davis, boxing star Gervonta Davis, named as driver in a hit and run that injured 3 people. Wow, star. Boxing, Gervonta Davis, the 2-time division world champion and one of boxing's biggest stars, was the driver in a November hit and run accident in downtown Baltimore that injured at least 3 people, according to a police report obtained by The Guardian on Friday. The Baltimore Sun first reported that Davis alleged involvement in the crash, citing the accident report, which had been released by police earlier this week, with the names of all involved parties. Redacted charges have yet to be filed in the case nearly 4 months after it took place. Okay, so I thought he might have been. I'm like, man, this man can't get right. Man. He just broke his hand. Now he's got here running people over. All right, so I don't think they're going to charge him with anything. They're saying that they redacted the charges, so he's not going to be charged with anything. All right, so let's move on. Crawford, the avoided, and Ryan Garcia, the avoided. What the? Let me check this article out, man. Who all we got in here today, man? We got 10 people in here, man. Drop me a comment, everybody. Let me know who we got in here. Ryan Garcia and Terence Crawford live different situations, but not less paradoxical for them. The WBC interim champion has only one opponent. He's bound to face Devin Haney, but he doesn't even name him first strategy or just not ready, as his coach Eddie Reynoso said. The WBC doesn't seem to have the power to force him to fight, and Eddie Hearns, Haney's manager, looks like he already threw in the towel, although he gets mad at Ryan without mentioning De La Hoya in the video. We have an explanation for the strange behavior of Garcia, the champion of social networks. In the case of Terence Crawford, a strange situation also occurs, and that gives a good response to his detractors. The best on the planet is also the most avoided, and who seems to have had his turn to avoid it is Sean Porter, nothing more and nothing less. Porter, along with Manny Pacquiao, are 2 names on Bob Arum's agenda for the WBA welterweight champion. That's wrong. It should be WBO welterweight champion. Manny asked for $40 million, and Porter rejected $2 million in the video. I comment on what can happen with Crawford from his decision to face whoever it is, or rather force whoever is encouraged. You know what, man? I don't feel like Terence Crawford is ducked. I don't think nobody's ducking him. I just feel like he's trying to command too much money, and he don't sell fights, and that's kind of holding him back, because instead of just taking good fights and making what you're gonna make and gaining new fanfare, he decides to just kind of go the other way and let Bob Arum make his fights. It worked for Manny Pacquiao, but Manny Pacquiao is a different type of fighter than Terence Crawford is. So I feel like it hurts Crawford not to make this fight, man. It really hurts him. Does Pacquiao need to come down on the price a little bit? I think he deserves the $40 million, but if they can't have a live gate, he might be forced to come down on the price. And I definitely think Bob Arum's not going to want to pay, especially if they're expecting Bob Arum to come up with the money. I think that's kind of weird that they keep asking Bob Arum to come up with the money, but yet everybody's saying that they have these investors in the Middle East willing to put up the money. And I wish I could find some more news surrounding this, but it doesn't seem to be a lot more news out there right now. Hold on, let me look through my articles. Who all we got in here right now? We got 11 people in the chat, man. Caps, damn, Tank. Yeah, Tank's going through it, man. I don't know what's going on with Tank, man. He must, at least he didn't. Hopefully he didn't kill anybody. From what it says, he didn't kill anybody. So, but it did say people were injured. Let me see her. See what's going on with the Pacquiao news. Try to find any more articles for him. No, already that one. So no new news right now, man. And the only thing I can really say at the moment is it's really up to Bob Arum and Terence Crawford if they really want to make this fight. You know, I think it's an excellent fight for Terence Crawford. I think it would be the perfect test for him to prove that he is bad. Tito, what's good, bro? What's good, man? Just dropping the new news regarding the potential fight with Pacquiao and Crawford, man. New situation just popped up here as far as what's going on in the Middle East. They're talking about they can't have they won't be able to have a full venue or a live gate. It won't be much of a live gate if they have it in Dubai. They can still take it to Qatar, but I think Dubai is off the is not in the runnings right now. Jay Jasper says, listening from East Oakland, Cali, setting up for studio for my Zoom Filipino martial arts class tomorrow morning. Keep it up, the good work, Red. Just watch your live with Caps. Y'all dope. Appreciate it, fam. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you for coming through, family. If you ever want to be involved yourself, man, you can come on, bro. If you got access to just the internet, that's all you need. And I got the program to where, you know, I can set everything up. If you got a topic you wanna be a part of, man, hit me up in the community section on WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, or you can go to the info section of my channel and get my Gmail and hit me up on Gmail. You know, wherever you can find me at, bro. Definitely would like to get more people on here. Me and Caps is definitely gonna do something in the future. So, you know, be looking out for that. A lot of rich Pac fans in Dubai, y'all. You know, and I feel that, but what they're saying in this article is that, you know, it wouldn't be, the venue wouldn't be open. It wouldn't be, they wouldn't probably allow, because they have a situation in the neighboring city to where the Verona cases are skyrocketing, so they're saying that they don't know if how big of a venue they actually would be able to have. So they're expecting Pacquiao, I guess, to come down on his price tag. Now that all might be, you know, just speculation that they're throwing out there. So Pacquiao just comes down on his price tag, but it was a very good article. You know, you might have to go back to the beginning of this stream to check out what I said about that article. Let me get deeper into these comments. Jay Jasper says if there's no gate money, then Uncle Bob gonna want a higher percentage. Exactly. And here's the thing to me, I don't understand why, because in that article they mentioned Pacquiao is wanting Bob Arum to put up to $40 million, which I don't get. Are they asking him to? I don't understand if they're asking him to put up a $40 million. Are they asking him to put up a portion of the $40 million, or are they asking him to match the $40 million? You know, this is what I don't get about this whole talk about the $40 million, because, like I said earlier, everything I've heard is that there's an investor group that already has Pacquiao's $40 million. So why do they need another 40 from Bob Arum? It don't really make a lot of sense, but this is the news that's out there right now. Jay says, Bad Tito says, a lot of, okay, I got that one. Jay says, yes, sir, I'ma holler at you, fam, right on for the invite. Okay, no problem, bro. Good looking, bro. Anytime, man. Anytime you ready, bro, just let me know. We can get it on. You know, just hit me up about a day in advance or something. Okay, let me see. You know, what was that? All right, so as far as the live gate goes, I feel like if there is no live gate, I do agree with you that Bob Arum's going to want the split to be way different. And I feel like yeah, around 20 million, 20 million, 20 million versus 5 million pay per view would be huge on this fight. Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's just gonna depend on where they stage the fight at. I don't know where the most open country is in the world right now. Who's had the best luck dealing with the whole pandemic in the world. So they don't have to. I feel like take it to the Middle East if there's somewhere else that's open. But it would. I guess that it would do better in the Middle East because, like you said, there are a lot of big dollar signs in the Middle East, and a lot of people willing to spend money on Pacquiao's fights. His I believe they had the Chris Algieri fight in the Middle East. I believe that's the one they had in the Middle East, and that fight it sold really well. So, hey, it is what it is, man. Maybe I think no, they can't take it to the EU because I think they pretty much locked down completely. It's gonna be interesting to see how all this negotiation plays out. I know definitely Bob Arum's not gonna want to go for that $40 million. He just it's too much of a risk for Crawford losing, and that's a seriously high price tag if they can't have a gate. I would only agree that that's a fair price if they could have up to 30,000 people in the stadium. Without around 30,000 people, I can't agree that that's a fair price. Now, fair price. Now, if they took it down to 25 million to 30 million, I would say okay, without a live gate, 25-30 million dollars is fair. But I still wouldn't understand why they're asking Bob Arum to come up with 25 million. Because let's be honest, if they're expecting Bob Arum to come up with $40 million to make this fight, it's not gonna happen. So I would see why some detractors from Pacquiao or fans that don't like Pacquiao are saying he's pricing himself out, because in their eyes they're gonna look at it like, well, for a fact Bob Arum is not gonna pay you $40 million for this fight. So I think that would be some people's logic on why Pacquiao would have named that price. That he's pricing himself out. In other words, so it's gonna be interesting, man, how all this plays out, man. I feel like the fight does well on paper. What do y'all think the fight does on pay-per-view? Pacquiao Thurman did 500,000 buys. It did $37 million in revenue from that 500,000 buys. So do y'all feel like Pacquiao Crawford does better than Pacquiao Thurman did? Because Crawford has a slightly bigger name. I don't feel like Keith Thurman had a huge fan base. I think the hardcore PBC fans ride with Thurman, and that they would pay for Thurman's fights. Do y'all feel like Crawford has just as many fans as Thurman has, backing him? And would a Crawford fight actually do more than 500,000 buys? Because if they're just expecting to sell pay-per-views, he would have to sell a lot of pay-per-views to make up for that live gate, man. Somewhere around 1.5 million pay-per-views to make up for that live gate. I think it could possibly be done. Maybe, they do some type of deal with the Philippines to where the Philippines buys out the pay-per-view and just has it free for the people of the Philippines. I know that's happened once or twice in the past where cities purchased the pay-per-view buys, just to run the numbers up. So that's possible too. But here's the thing about it: if they can't make this fight, should he just go ahead and try to make the fight with Spence instead? If the $40 million is what's gonna keep this fight from happening, should he just reach out there? Because it's been reported that if he can't make this fight, his next best, I guess, opponent to him is Errol Spence Jr. I know it's a lot of reports about Mikey out there and Ryan, but I think he's going for legacy, and the two legacy fights that are out there are Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford. If he can't get the Crawford fight simply because the $40 million is too much, then why not just turn around and go straight to Errol Spence Jr.? I think it would be a better fit than him trying to fight Ryan Garcia, and I think it would be just as much money involved in that fight as the Terence Crawford fight. Maybe not the $40 million
that he wants from Bob Arum. Apparently, maybe somewhere around 10 million from from PBC. I guess 10. Maybe they'll put up 10, 15, 20 million dollars to make the Earl Spence Jr. fight happen. Red Cloud says the reality was the split Bob was looking for is 30 million for Bob, 15 million for Pacquiao, and 5 million for Crawford. But Pacquiao team probably found out about the investors. Laugh my A off. And you probably right about that because I mean, if it has to be something like that going on. Apparently, Manny Pacquiao's team they're going off of what was offered to them in the past, when they were first trying to make that offer, because I'm guessing that they feel like, well, if they offered $40 million for that fight a year ago, Bob Arum, why can't you just go back to them and get them to put up that $40 million once again? And I'm pretty sure, yeah, if Bob Arum's coming with the money, the split is going to be somewhere around what you just said, 30 million, somewhere around 20 million for Arum, 10 or 15 million for Pacquiao, and 5 million for Crawford. I would say it would probably be that. It would probably be, if there was $40 million on the table, Bob Arum's going to want 20 million of that 40. Pacquiao would get like 15 million of that 40, and then Crawford would get the remaining 5, his normal split. But I'm thinking that Pacquiao probably looks at it more, and I said this in like 2 streams ago. If this is a pot of money that they're looking at, because in another article they were saying something about $50 million that they were asking from Bob. So what I'm thinking is the split would be 15 for Bob, 15 for Bob Arum, the 10 for Crawford, which would make 25 million, and then Pacquiao would get the remainder, which would be 15 million for him. So if they were splitting it up, 15 and 15 for Pacquiao and Bob, and then 5 for Crawford, I feel like that that would be fair. If they're asking Bob Arum to come up with this pool of money. Now, if they're coming up with the pool of $40 million, I feel like the split's gonna be really weird at that point, because then how do you pay Pacquiao, Arum, and Crawford out of that if Pacquiao wants $40 million dollars? It don't. Something's weird about that 40 million quote that they're putting out there, and I just wish that there was more. I wish he would have said more about that split when he announced that he offered that to them, or is it really even that he offered that to them, or he just accepted the offer Bob Arum offered him a year ago? I don't really know what to say at this point, about this $40 million, because if they're asking Bob to come up with it, it don't really make sense if there's an investor group who already has the money. You would think Bob Arum wouldn't have to put up anything as far as making the fight if there's $40 million just sitting out there. But hey, like, I'm not in the loop. Maybe somebody else could, put their 2 cents in if you're in the Philippines and you saw the original offer that was made to Pacquiao. Let me know down in the chat what you think is actually going on. But I would feel like that's what Team Pacquiao is referring to. So if Bob Arum, Bad Tito says Pac starts at 40 million, settles for 25 million, and I would agree. I would think 15 million is fair. If there's just $40 million on the table, I would say if he 20 million at the most, I would think, would be fair, because at that point you can give Bob Arum, if Pacquiao said, hey, give me 20 million, I'll take the fight. You guys can take Bob Arum, you can take 15 million from that, and you can just pay Terence Crawford his normal 5 million fee, and he would actually get the full 5 million, to where a lot of times he doesn't get the full 5 million. Like, I think Bob Arum was supposed to pay him $5 million for the Kell Brook fight, but he shortchanged Terence Crawford and only gave him like 3.5
or $3.6 million, somewhere around there. So it's gonna be interesting to see what the actual split of that 40 turns out to be. Because there's no way, if there's only $40 million on the table, that they're gonna give Pacquiao the full 40 million and then try to come up with another 10 million for Crawford and Earl to split. Now it might end up happening like that, if like I said, that there are other people putting up the money. Because if there are other people putting up the 40, and then all Bob has to come up with is the 10 million, and then him and Crawford get to split 10 million, and Pacquiao gets to go with 40 million, then it's a totally different scenario. And I'm not sure which one of these scenarios is playing out, because one news source is reporting that the money's already there for Pacquiao. The 40 million's already there for Pacquiao. So I don't understand why this other source is saying, hey, they're expecting Bob Arum to come up with the 40 million. I would think all Bob Arum has to come up with is $10 million for him and Crawford to split. So I think what I'm coming up with is, because the article I read yesterday is that said that they were looking for a $50 million pot, basically. So I guess the 40 million would come from the investors, the 10 million would come from Top Rank and ESPN. There would be a $50 million pot. Some of that would go towards paying for the venue. Some of that would go towards Pacquiao's purse and Crawford's purse, and paying Bob Arum, I guess. So very interesting stuff that's going on right now. Bad Tito says Bob needs to take a freaking tattoo. He's silly, man. Captain Full G says, yes, sir, it sounds good. And look, I think if the fight can be made easier, if Pacquiao comes down on the money, I think he should go for it, man. Because, why not? It's only going to get held up in negotiation if they argue over this $40 million for a month or 2 months. Then it's going to end up pushing the fight from May to somewhere around June or July. And I don't want to, draw this thing out for longer than it needs to be, because it's just holding up the inevitable, which is, to me, that Errol Spence fight, and that's the one I'm really interested in. And I feel like if he has to bypass this Crawford fight because of the money, I think he should just go ahead and bypass it and go straight for Errol Spence. Why not? Why even waste time negotiating with Bob Arum and Terence Crawford? If they're not just going to come to the table and accept that $10 million that they would get. And I would think that, that 40 million, I don't think it's really 40 million now. I think it's really, maybe 30 million, and then they're going to pay Crawford and Arum out of the remaining 10 million. Chef Iron Cow, why should Bob get more than either fighter? His old butt need to go sit down somewhere. Hey, it is what it is. Bob Arum is the promoter. He shouldn't be making more than Crawford for helping put on the fight. But we all know Bob Arum is greedy, so he's gonna want a nice portion of the pie when it comes to this fight. So all I can say is, maybe Manny does need to come down on the price tag a little bit, simply to make the fight. And if they're so confident that he can beat Terence Crawford, there's no need for him to command $40 million for this fight. Because if he does, like I've been saying about those two guys the past few days, if he does beat Crawford, he stands to make a whole lot more money off that Errol Spence fight. So, if he has to go down to 15, 20 million to make the fight, go ahead and do that. But I wouldn't want him to negotiate this thing out for 2 or 3 months, man, because it's just holding up the inevitable, man. You could easily go make that Errol Spence fight, because like Captain Full G said, you guys are on the same side of the street. You would think that would have been the first fight in the first place, because they both on the same side of the street. But I think, like I said in another video, in another live stream, that I feel like this is a This is a strategic move by PBC to leverage that other belt, basically. Because if everybody in the situation feels like Pacquiao can beat Crawford, and they're willing to fight Pacquiao to where they're not willing to fight Errol Spence Jr. because of the split, then I would feel like that, PBC is trying to leverage Pacquiao to get that other belt from Top Rank Boxing. And it could possibly happen that way. But if, like I said, if Bob Arum and Team Crawford are smart, as I think they are, I don't think that they wouldn't, that scenario wouldn't cross their mind. I think that they would just say, hey, well, we don't want to put up the $40 million for the fight, and just brush the fight off and force it back into Pacquiao's hands at that point, and PBC's hands to either put on a Pacquiao you guys fight, which it probably won't sell very well, but I think it's a good fight, or a Pacquiao Spence fight, which I think does do very well. Let me know what y'all think, man, because this thing could go a lot of different ways. And I know a lot of people are gonna say that it's just straight ducking, man. White Tiger says, "Don't duck me, son." A lot of people are gonna say that that's what it is if they don't make this fight. And different fan bases are gonna run with it different ways. Like the people who don't like Pacquiao, well, they're gonna say he priced himself out. The people who don't like Crawford are gonna say he's ducking Pacquiao for not taking that $10 million. I think at the end of the day, if the fight don't happen, a lot of the blame is gonna come on to Bob Arum's shoulders because of him not wanting to put up the money. And I just feel like this is the perfect opportunity for this fight to happen as well. Even though things are not as open with the live gate aspect of the fight, there is this $1.9 trillion stimulus package that they're going to release into the economy next month. And that's a lot of people are going to get a lot of money, and I feel like a lot of boxing fans are going to have a lot of disposable money next month to spend on this fight. So if they don't make it now, you have the potential of losing out on the golden opportunity of making a lot of pay-per-view dollars off of this fight. Because if they wait too long, a lot of that money is just going to get spent really quick. So what's going to happen to me, what should happen to me, if they make this fight for May, so you have March, April, May, the stimulus stuff gets released, the middle of next month. Take about 2 weeks for everybody to get that check. By the time everybody has that check, it'll be May, so it'll be perfect timing for people to start spending that money on that fight. $100 out of $6,000, $7,000 stimulus check ain't nothing. I think a lot of people would be willing to blow that on this fight. So I think that's a golden opportunity right there, and I think they need to seize that golden opportunity. If they're smart and they're thinking about this in the right way, somebody's got to be pushing that idea on Bob Arum and Team Crawford. They stand to make a lot of money, I think, off the pay-per-view numbers due to this $1.9 trillion stimulus that's about to come out. Mr. BR3 says 206 in the building. What's cracking, BR3? He also says Pac is the stimulus package, the boxing community. He's silly. Captain Full G says stimulus. I'm telling y'all, man, that to me that plays a big factor. Whoever sets a fight up around the date when that money starts getting released stands to get a lot of pay-per-view buys from boxing fans who've gotten that money. It's a lot of money they're about to release, along with the fact that you're about to get your income tax check too. So you're gonna have a stimulus check on top of an income tax check, which is a reason I think that they waited so long to do this stimulus stuff. I think they kind of delayed it on purpose because they want people to have a lot of money to shove back into the economy all at once to kind of prop the economy up. It's good. It's politics all around, but it's smart politics. They're playing smart with this money that they're about to release into the economy. Bad Tito says Bud never made $10 million ever. But the problem is Bud gonna get that whole 10 million? This is what's kind of boggling my mind here. Is this a pot of $40 million, or do they have $40 million just for Pacquiao? Because there's a big difference if there's just a pot of money or if they're just paying Pacquiao $40 million flat fee. Because if they're just giving Pacquiao, here's the thing: if they're just giving Pacquiao $40 million flat fee, that means he's probably not going to get a piece of the pay-per-view numbers. So, Bob Arum and Terence Crawford would stand to make a whole lot more money off of this deal based off the how many pay-per-view buys it did. So if Pacquiao said, okay, I'll just take a flat fee of $40 million, y'all can keep whatever gate that we have, and y'all can keep whatever pay-per-view buys we do. If they do 600, 700,000 buys, that's around $40 million that Crawford, Top Rank, ESPN, and the investors would get to split up amongst themselves. So his 10 million would turn into somewhere around 18, 19 million. And I guess, the rest of the hands that are in the pot would get to split whatever else is left. So there's a couple of dynamics that could play out as far as that 40 million. Is it a 40 million pot, or is it a 40 million flat fee for Pacquiao? Because if it's a 40 million flat fee for Pacquiao, also that means they want Bob Arum to put up the $10 million for Crawford, which I guess they're expecting him to recoup his $10 million off the gate and pay-per-view numbers, which I think they would easily do. Because, like I said, Keith Thurman Pacquiao sold 500,000 buys. I think Crawford Pacquiao could easily do 700,000 buys, which would bring them around $40 million. Arum would get his 10 million plus back. Crawford would get his 10 million out of that, and the investors would keep the other 15 million. Pacquiao would walk off smooth with his 40 million. So I think everybody would win. I think it's a win-win still, based off of what the numbers are actually are. None of us know what the contract is, so that they're offering. So it's going to be really interesting over the next couple of weeks to see what is actually in the contract that they're wanting Bob Arum and Terence Crawford to sign. Bad Tito say, no way Pac not getting pay-per-view money. I think it depends. It depends. If he's getting 40 million flat, I don't think he needs the pay-per-view money. Because if he takes a cut and says I'll take 30 million and a portion of the pay-per-view money, he's just gonna end up right back at 30 million and a portion of the pay-per-view money. He would just end right back up at $40 million anyway. So. I think he would be willing to accept a flat fee of $40 million without the pay-per-view in the gate, based off of because then they would it would satisfy Bob Arum and Team Crawford, I think, a lot more if they got a higher percentage of the pay-per-view numbers. Brian Santos, what's good, Brian? The numbers don't add up. They definitely don't. It's weird because, like I said, you got different people, you got different boxing channels, different news sources, all reporting this $40 million split differently. You got some saying that the investor group has Pacquiao's $40 million already. Some saying that they want Bob Arum to come up with the $40 million, and then some saying that they want Bob Arum to come up with $10 million. And then even some saying they want Arum to come up with $50 million, which none of this makes sense. Either y'all got Pacquiao's money or y'all don't got Pacquiao's money. Why is this up to Bob Arum to come up with the money? I don't get that at all, Brian. If you know why the split seems so weird, let me know, man, because I don't get it at all. The only thing I could think of is that scenario that Pacquiao just wants $40 million flat fee because of what's going on in the world. I think he realizes that if he tries to get 40 plus a piece of the pay-per-view numbers, it don't leave much money left over for Bob Arum and Terence Crawford to split. So I think if he was to just get 40 million, maybe that's why they're saying this investor group has 40 specifically for Pacquiao, And then they want Bob Arum and Terence Crawford to take the gate and the pay-per-view numbers. Because, like I said, if they did even 500,000 buys would bring somewhere around $37 million in, because that's what the Keith Thurman fight did. And I think they only charged $50 or $60 for the Thurman fight. You could charge $80 or $100 for the Crawford Pacquiao fight, and do $50 million, $60 million in pay-per-view sales if you only sold 500,000 buys. So I think it's possible that Pacquiao would only take the $40 million flat fee and let those guys walk off with the pay-per-view numbers. Oh, Captain Full G, hey man, I appreciate you for that super chat, man. He says, "Yo, Red, say pay-per-view fast like we do up here in New York." How you selling, bro? How y'all saying up there? Like pay-per-view? We about to get this pay-per-view, bro. Y'all got the New York accent, so I know I ain't saying it right. How you selling, man? I appreciate that, man. Y'all go, if y'all, we got 22 people in here, man, right now. So if y'all can take time out, Pacquiao the like button for me. And if you have extra time or at some point in the day, man, go check out Captain Full G. If you haven't already subscribed to his channel, definitely go check out Captain Full G, man. He's a real one, and he deserves all the subscribers that he can get, man. People say they love him when he comes on the show. Hope to get him on a couple of more times, man. So, or whenever he wants to come on, man. Basically, he's an invited guest whenever he want to come on. I was trying to pin your comment to the top, but I really don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it, man. But how do y'all say it? I know y'all got to say it with some type of, I'm from the South, man. I'm in the country, so we say things a little bit slower down here. Hit them pay-per-views up. You feel me? Bad Tito says, "Yo, if you saying getting all the pay-per-view, he's getting off cheap at $50 million to make that fight." It would make sense though to me that would be what they're offering them, because it don't make sense if they expect them to if they're expecting Pacquiao to get $40 million, but there's only $40 million in the pot, and you're expecting to come up with the rest. It never makes sense when you're expecting Bob Arum to come up with anything over $3 million right now, because it's just not going to happen. So if that's what they're expecting, it's not going to happen. But if they have Pacquiao's money already, and then they give Arum and Crawford the gate and the pay-per-view, because the gate's not going to do well, because they're saying that Dubai is not open as much as I think people expected. So there might only be 15,000 people in the arena, if that, so the gate's not going to do well. The pay-per-view numbers could be really good, like I said, because they're going to release all that stimulus money into the economy around the time that this fight could potentially happen. So even if they only did, let's say they charged $80 for this fight, and they only did 600,000 buys, that's still around $45 million that Arum, Crawford, and who else has a hand in making this fight could all split. So Pacquiao got his $40 million, and then all of them share an additional $40 to $50 million, which would be more than $40 million because of the gate. It would be probably more closer to $50 to $60 million because of the gate. Could be way higher if they could put 50, 60,000 people in the stadium. But I think it makes sense if they made 40, 50, 60 million dollars off the fight, off the pay-per-view sales and the gate, them split that 60 million and Pacquiao walk off with his 40 million. I think that's fair. I don't see why that's not fair. I don't see why that wouldn't be fair to both sides. I think both sides make good money off that. Crawford would still end up with his 10 million. Bob Arum would end up with somewhere around 10 million for doing nothing, basically. And, I guess Adi Attar and Paradigm and PBC would split somewhere around 25 to $30 million. So I think everybody would win in that scenario. Let me know what y'all think down in the comment section, man. Brian says Manny will put the pay-per-view money. Will put the pay-per-view money. The question is Bud. I'm not sure what you meant, man. Manny will put the pay-per-view money. The question is with Bud. Maybe you misspelled something right there. I'm not sure what you meant right there. Caps and Full G says, yes, sir. Thanks. No problem, Caps, man. Appreciate you, man. Always, bro. So moving on, man. So let's just say this fight does get made. You know, Pacquiao's getting his $40 million. Crawford, they work out the money to where, you know, Crawford gets his $10 million. Bob Arum gets him a little something. The fight actually does get made. They take it to Dubai. Who's actually going to win this fight to y'all, man? Is this a 50-50 fight? Or is Crawford the underdog and Pacquiao is just way too much for him? Or do y'all think that Crawford really has a better chance than what people are giving him because of his switch hitter style and his youth and the fact that Pacquiao's been inactive? I think that's going to play a big role in this fight. To me, it's going to play a big role how inactive he's been. But according to Team Pacquiao, they seem so confident in him winning and him going to fight Earl Spence Jr. It's building my confidence up in the fight to where I don't think that layoff is going to have as big of an effect on Pacquiao as maybe people are thinking it is, because the layoff that he had, and he really didn't have a much of a layoff between Broner and Thurman. I think it was about 8 months. But you know, a layoff can affect you, but I don't think it's going to affect them in the way that people think it is. But y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Is that the biggest factor in this fight, that the Pacquiao's layoff and what he's going to look like when he comes back? Or do y'all think that Crawford he don't have what it takes to beat Pacquiao at all? Because I think personally Crawford's way overrated. Basically, I just think he's overrated. And he's going to perhaps get the biggest wake up of his boxing career when he fights Pacquiao. Brian Santos says ESPN and Atlas are going to hype up Bud so much because they ranked him number 1 on ESPN, but my heart goes to Manny. You know, a lot of that it does have to do with the fact that Bob Arum has that contract with ESPN, and they're able to, you know, just spread the word about Crawford through their ESPN platform. You know, a lot of people watch ESPN, and whatever they say is gospel. You know, so if ESPN says he's the best fighter in the world, then most people in America are gonna believe that he's the best fighter in the world. Even though there's Errol Spence Jr. out there, who technically is a better fighter because of his resume, and he has the majority of the belts, but the ESPN machine is what it is. So they're able to hype a fighter up way more than I think what Fox can. You know, Fox is competing, but ESPN is a big machine, man. They're the biggest sports casting machine out there. So you know, I feel like he's overhyped. I personally feel like he's overhyped. And I feel like this is the biggest fight of his career, on and off of paper. I think it would be the toughest fight of his career on and off of paper. Bad Tito says he's going to put hands on Bud. I feel like it's going to be an interesting fight, man. I think Pacquiao's speed is definitely going to be the determining factor. What Pacquiao we getting? Which version of Pacquiao we getting? Are we getting a better version than the guy who fought Keith Thurman? Or are we getting a slightly degraded version of Pacquiao than the guy who fought Keith Thurman? I feel like we could possibly get a better version of the guy who fought Thurman, because Pacquiao has been out for so long and he's had the opportunity to work on things and study for this fight. I think that's something that people are forgetting. Pacquiao has been out for a year and a half, but they gave him a year and a half to study everything about Pacquiao's style. He could have mentioned this to Freddie Roach a long time ago, that, hey, go ahead and start putting together a game plan for Terence Crawford. He might have already had a game plan from the time when he was on Top Rank. to beat Terence Crawford. So a lot of potential on the line here, man, with this fight, man. I can't wait till it actually does. I can't wait till something gets announced, man. It's too much anticipation for me. Because this is such a big fight, I just want to see them announce it. The dollar signs are going to be there. They just need to announce it, man. You know, go ahead and make the fight. Stop letting Bob Arum dictate things, man. When you let Bob Arum dictate the pace, this thing is never going to happen. Who Pac sparring with? I think that's a big question, man. I don't know yet. Captain Full G mentioned the one of Pacquiao's fighters that he has under the MP Promotions banner that he was possibly sparring with him. I've never seen him. I need Captain Full G to put his name back in the chat of what the guy's name is, because I forgot what his name was. But there's one of Pacquiao's fighters that he said he could potentially spar with. That's a pretty good fighter. So, and then there's Kambosa out there who's supposed to be fighting Teofimo Lopez. He sparred with Kambosa several times. That Kambosa would be a good sparring partner for a fight with Crawford. I think Sean Porter would be a decent sparring partner for a fight with Crawford. He has a potential fight coming up too as well. So it would be right around the same time of training. But none of these guys are in the Philippines, which is the problem. So I would lean more toward what Captain Full G said, because they are still in General Santos City. So I believe George Kambosa trains in either California or Canada. I think he's Canadian, I believe. So I think he trains mainly in California and then in Canada. So I don't think he would be flying out to the Philippines to spar with Pacquiao. So I think the guy who Captain Full G mentioned would 99.9% of the time right now be the person that he's probably sparring with. It would probably be a lot of guys off of Team Pacquiao that he's sparring with right now. KUYJTV. Pacquiao can bring a big audience to this fight. He deserves $40 million. Crawford will receive 10 first time in his career. The problem with the audience is that they're saying that Dubai has just recently locked the city down, so they're not sure if they're going to be able to bring a bigger audience into the fight. So it's bringing a question of the money into play now. How much money is enough money now to make this fight? How much money does Pacquiao really deserve if they don't have a gate behind the fight? One thing that could save it, though, is if Pacquiao is only getting a flat fee and not taking a portion of the pay-per-view money. If he decides to just take a flat fee and not a portion of the pay-per-view money, I think that could be something that potentially saves this fight. Because I think they stand to do well on pay-per-view, a lot better than what a lot of people are saying that they would do. I think a lot of people think because of what's going on in the world, nobody will watch it. But I think because of what's going on in the world, a lot of people will watch it, because it would just simply give people something to do. And then there are a lot of Manny Pacquiao fans that are eagerly awaiting his return. There's the stimulus money get ready to go into the economy. A lot of factors playing into the hands of this fight actually happening. Just my opinion, man. I feel like I just want to see the fight happen. I don't want to see him fight none of the Garcias. I'm just not interested in those fights at this point. I think it's a little bit too little, too late. Maybe a year ago, before all this stuff started, those would be good, matchups for tune-ups for Crawford or Spence. But I think if Pacquiao's truly going to make this his final year and these are his final two fights, we don't need to be wasting time with talking about Mikey Garcia and Ryan Garcia and Danny Garcia and Nacho and Taco Garcia. We just need to be focusing on, Pacquiao getting the best fights that are out there. And the only 2 fights or 3 fights that are potentially out there are those 3 championship fights, which would be Crawford, Spence, and then you guys. You guys, to a lesser extent, because I think a lot of people think that fight don't sell, but I feel like it's a good fight. I think it would do somewhere around, slightly under what the Keith Thurman fight did, but it would be a really good fight. I think he would give him a great fight. Bad Tito says truth. Mac D says millions of Filipino fans will tune in to this fight all over the world. I'm not doubting that, but I'm just trying to figure out, how do they make this money situation work? How do they pay Pacquiao $40 million and get Terence Crawford his money? Get Bob Arum his portion of the money, and everybody be happy. That way, this fight can actually be made. I think the money is going to be the serious issue that holds this fight up. KJTV says Garcia's do not help Pacquiao's legacy at all. None of them do. None of them do. At all. It would just be another notch on his belt, basically. He can just say he beat another, guy. If he, depending on which one of the Garcias he fought, if he fought Mikey, he can say he beat another former champion. If he fought Danny, he can say he beat another former champion. If he fights Ryan, then he's just basically doing it to try to get a piece of that Gatorade money that Ryan's about to get. And I think fans would tune in for the Ryan fight, but not as many as tuned in for the Thurman fight. I think he might do just under what the Thurman fight did as far as pay-per-view numbers go. Brian Santos says if Bud doesn't take this fight, this is a duck and bad for boxing. Even his promoter Bob said that it's hard to promote Crawford. I mean, it is difficult to because Crawford's not he's not a Mayweather type of character. He's not even an Earl Spence type of character who's, more in the club. Crawford's like a family man. He's like to himself, a family guy, and it's hard to promote a family guy. You need a character to sometimes to promote. Pacquiao promoted himself because he took on the best competition. He laid the groundwork by taking on some of the best fighters and taking down some of the best fighters out there. To where Terence Crawford hasn't really done that in his career. He, especially not at 147 pounds, there's just not enough notable names at top rank for him to take on. So he's ended up in a situation to where his resume is holding him back, as well as the fact he has no sellability as far as having a marketable personal life. Earl Spence's what he was doing was marketable. He hangs out with rappers. He goes to the club. And a lot of people like rappers. So whoever the fans of the rappers are that he hangs out with are naturally going to gravitate to Earl Spence as a boxer if they're also boxing fans. To where Terence Crawford is a family man. There's not too many fans out there who want to be just sitting around watching a family man all day long. So that it kind of hurts Terence Crawford in a way. I mean, it's good that he's a great guy. He has a good personality, and he stays out of trouble and does the right thing by his wife and his kids and stuff. But it's not marketable. It's not sellable on TV. People want to see a character like Floyd Mayweather, the character Floyd Mayweather came up with, the Money Mayweather. There was a very sellable character. Pacquiao, very sellable because, like I said, he laid the groundwork. He was knocking guys out who he wasn't supposed to knock out. He was beating fighters. It was something worth tuning in for. I think people feel like they're getting a whole lot of the same when they tune in for a Terence Crawford fight. And then, along with that, you're not really seeing them fight the best competition. So it's really hard for him to sell a fight. You got to blame that on Bob Arum, though. He should have realized when Pacquiao was gone, and he was moving Crawford up to 147, that there was nobody left there for him to fight, and either you're gonna be willing to do better business with PBC, or he should have just left Crawford at 140. There's so much competition down there at 140 now. then I think Bob Arum's probably kicking himself for moving Crawford up into the welterweight division. He could have left Crawford down at 140 and made tons of money off him beating these up and coming guys. Like Crawford versus Haney would be a great fight. Crawford versus Teofimo would be a great fight. Crawford and Gervonta Davis would be a great fight. But unfortunately for him, all the great welterweights are over at PBC. So I think it would be difficult for him still to make that Gervonta Davis fight if he was still at 140. But, that would be the only thing. He could go match him up with Teofimo. He could go match him up with Devin Haney. He can match him up with Lomachenko. It'd be a lot of interesting fights out there for Crawford. But because he's at 140, there's no competition at 140 at top rank. So he has to either take less money or just accept the fact that he's not sellable on pay-per-view, and I mean, eventually he's gonna have to be the B-side to somebody who's just as famous as he is, because he don't sell his own fights. Adam M, what's good, Adam? I'm gonna keep saying it. Don't get your hopes up. Fool me once, shame on me. 2015, fool me twice, shame on you. 2020, fool me 3 times. I mean, I understand where you're coming from. They're getting our hopes really high for this fight, and it's possible that it might not happen. But if it don't happen this time, there's nobody in the world that can say, Pacquiao didn't want to fight you. That's the difference between now and then, is that then they were trying to say, Pacquiao's ducking. Pacquiao don't want to fight Crawford. He left top rank so he wouldn't have to make that fight. Now you can't say that. Now it's all up to Bob Arum and Terence Crawford, and for both of these teams to come up with the right amount of money to make this fight. The offer's on the table. So, hey, at least now when people mention that fight, if it don't happen, you can say, well, it wasn't Pacquiao's fault that it didn't happen. He was all on board to make this fight happen. Bobby Rick says Spence is a bigger city. Is in a bigger city. Also, LOL Dallas, baby. That's very true. That is very true. And actually, the fact that he's in Texas is the reason why he's more popular. Texas is a way bigger state than most of the average states in the United States. It's probably 3 times bigger than Kentucky. It's probably 2 times bigger than Kansas. Where's Terence Crawford from? Kansas? Nebraska. It's probably 2 times bigger than Nebraska. 3 times bigger than Nebraska. It's the biggest state in the union, I believe, besides California. And I think it actually is bigger than California. So there's no surprise that Spence is more popular. He might only be popular in Texas. Once you leave Texas, people might not really know what he is. He probably has a scattered fan base, the same way Terence Crawford does once he leaves Nebraska. So I agree with you there. That most of that's because of Texas and the Texas fan base that comes with Earl Spence Jr. And there's, like I said earlier, there are a lot of big name rappers down in Texas right now. So he can make his name even bigger and appeal to a lot more people by just going and standing next to those rappers. I'm not saying Terence Crawford can't do the same thing, but you can tell that there's a big difference in those two guys' personalities and how they move. Terence Crawford is very family orientated, and Earl Spence he lives like a street guy basically. So two totally different personalities when you talk about Spence and Crawford. Bad Tito says, who's Spence fighting next? I would put a lot of stake in that Jordanius you guys fight. I think he would more than likely go after that you guys fight, and if this Crawford and Pacquiao fight don't happen, I would say 90% that they're gonna go really hard after Earl Spence Jr. To fight them probably in the middle, probably at the end of May, beginning of June, somewhere around that timeline. So I would say it would be between Pacquiao and you guys. I think in some way, in some shape,
form or fashion, you're gonna see all four of those names get it on this year, because if this Pacquiao Crawford fight don't happen, and Pacquiao ends up fighting Earl Spence instead, then you can 99% be sure that Terence Crawford is going after that you guys fight. 100%, they're gonna go offer Yadanius you guys $1.5 million, which will probably be a really good payday, or $2 million, which would be a great payday for him at this point in his career, and they're gonna get that you guys fight. So I would say in some way you're gonna see these four guys, these four names, all get it on in the next year. And if the Pacquiao Spence fight don't happen and the Pacquiao Crawford fight don't happen, I'm 100% sure Pacquiao goes and fights you guys as the consolation prize for all this and gets his belt back, because it doesn't make any sense for him to go in any other direction. He shouldn't. Nobody else holds any titles at the welterweight division. The only other meaningful fight out there would be a Sean Porter fight, because he would be the only other guy who hasn't gotten beaten recently, and he would be the only other guy who Pacquiao hasn't really fought as far as welterweights at PBC, and that would be a great fight. But I would think it would be either going to be Spence, Crawford, or you guys. I don't see any other variations in there with a sprinkle of Sean Porter. Maybe if none of those fights can be made, and it would be crazy if none of those fights can be made. It would definitely say something. There's something else going on behind the scenes with them trying to keep Pacquiao from re-entering the champion ranks. You can 100% you can 100% hang your hat on that. There's something going on behind the scenes trying to keep him away from the championship ranks. Born Lucky says Crawford will make more fan after fighting Manny. I think it would make him more popular if he does decide to actually go through with this. And it can make him really unpopular if he doesn't decide to go through with this. So, I mean, even if he takes this fight and loses, he stands to lose a lot. If he don't take this fight and goes and fight Yadanius you guys, I think the boxing community as a whole, especially the people who don't already like Terence Crawford, the Spence fans, are gonna come out and just beat him over the head with the fact that he ducked Pacquiao. He stands to lose in a lot of ways. If his fight don't happen, he stands to lose in a lot of ways if his fight happens and he loses the fight. So the biggest loser coming out of all this is going to end up being Terence Crawford, no matter what happens. If he don't take the fight, he's going to be a loser. People ain't going to look at him the same. If he takes the fight and takes an L, it pretty much destroys his boxing career. Let me see. Brian Santos says Mayweather is more like brainwashed people thinking his boxing is sweet science, but really it's just running. I mean, he developed his own style. It's not fan friendly. It's hard to watch. It won him a lot of fights, if you can call it winning. I'm from the class of fight fan who says the more aggressive guy, the guy who lands the most punches, should actually win the fight. But this is a totally different boxing world we're living in, with totally different types of boxing fans and totally different ways of analyzing a fight than of the last generation. So all I can say is I believe Pacquiao won the Maypac fight because he did more. He landed more punches. If you ask me, he landed the harder punches. He was the more aggressive guy. Mayweather's defense, neither guy took a terrible beating, but like Evander Holyfield said, how can a guy who's basically been defensive the whole fight win on points when he wasn't throwing punches? It don't really make a lot of sense. If you're in this defensive shell for almost 75% of the fights, where are they coming up with all these punches that you're landing?
When Pacquiao was obviously, I think he threw more punches and landed more punches in that fight than Mayweather did. But hey, like I just said, man, this is a totally different boxing world that we're living in, with totally different aspects and totally different ways of looking at everything, and it's completely just disheveled, the whole sport. So it's up to the beholder of how you look at it. All right, man. We got 27 people in the chat right now. If you could take some time out to Pacquiao the like button. If you're not a Pacquiao fan, well, Mayweather the like button. If you are a Crawford fan, well, run from the like button and duck and hide and be scared of it. If you're a Spence fan, well, you can elbow it and headbutt it all you want. Just let me know y'all ain't heard. These are all jokes, man. This is just jokes. Just let me know y'all ain't heard. Drop me a comment, and I definitely will shout your name out, bro. I appreciate y'all all for coming through. All right, let me get back to these comments here. Kambaya says, can you make an open letter to World Bank? Red, maybe they will lend Bob the money. I think Bob has a better relationship with those people than I do. They ain't gonna listen to me. They definitely not gonna listen to me because I ain't got no collateral to put up for them. Bobby Rick says, to me, I look at it like this: take the $10 million. It's an investment. You win. I think he was gonna say, if you win this fight, every fight after will be a big payday, and that's completely true. This is nothing but groundwork for the future, and I keep saying this. The reason Manny Pacquiao is so famous, the reason I became a Pacquiao fan, is because Pacquiao took down who was my favorite fighter at the time, which was Mark Antonio Barrera. You know, I became a Pacquiao fan because he fought Barrera. I just happened to see him fight Barrera one day, and he completely took Barrera apart. And off the back of that, it made me a Manny Pacquiao fan. So it stands to help him a lot if he beats Pacquiao. But if he don't even take the fight, he stands to lose a lot of his fan base and turn fans that were slightly on his side against him, and turn a whole Earl Spence fan base against him because they just gonna beat him over the head with the fact that he ducked. I mean, it just is what it is. So I think this was a smart strategy, a tactic, or strategic move by Manny Pacquiao to put that out there. You know, he was getting clobbered over the Ryan Garcia talk. He was getting clobbered over the Conor McGregor talk. He just got stripped of his belt. What else to do to take everybody's attention off all that? Then throw out that you would fight Terence Crawford if they only come up with this money. It puts all the blame on Terence Crawford if he doesn't take that fight. So it was very strategic by Adi Attar, and I'm pretty sure he's the one who came up with that. Like, hey man, let's throw this out here because even if we don't get the fight, it allows us to negotiate behind the scenes with other people while fans are basically just focused on this potential fight. So it's very, very good strategy, man. This is these people are playing chess with each other to me at this point, and they're trying to position themselves with the most lucrative fight that they can make right now. So a lot of behind the scenes stuff, I'm pretty sure, going on right now with both sides, with both camps. Bad Tito, Texas is a disaster area right now. Man, that's putting it lightly, bro. And I that's just putting it lightly, man. Kambaya, I mean, Bob still wants a mansion in Malibu. Might as well want a golden coffin 5 years. Hey, Bob Earl already got gold coffin money. Bob Earl going out of here, man, in a gold, platinum, diamond encrusted coffin. That man got millions. He's been doing this since like the 70s. So I'm pretty sure he has millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. He can make this fight 60 or 70 times over. But the question is, how much does he double his money is what he's going for. He don't care about just making another 10, 15, 20. he's trying to double his money or triple his money. So whenever Bob Arum's name is involved in something, look for him to be making money and not losing money. And he's been in the business of losing money for a few years now because of what Mayweather's done to the sport and because of what PBC has introduced to the sport with those free fights. You know, Bob Arum wasn't giving away free fights. PBC giving away great competitive fights for free to people, and Bob Arum just simply can't compete with that. At least not at welterweight. He could probably compete with it at 130, 135, 140. You know, maybe middleweight, heavyweight, but not at welterweight. Not at all at welterweight. They're completely, you know, phasing Top Rank out of the welterweight boxing division altogether. Ryan Relieve says, Red, question is, who wins and what percentage would you give the fighter's chance of winning? I would say this is a 60-40 fight to Pacquiao. I think Pacquiao has the experience, he has the speed, he has the power advantage, he has the angles, he has great footwork. I think the only thing that Crawford brings to the table is youth. And I think that's the only thing he has in his advantage is youth. And I mean, everything else plays in Pacquiao's hands: ring knowledge, power, speed, angles, footwork, hand speed. I mean, when you name out all the attributes of both of these fighters, every attribute is going to go in Pacquiao's favor, even though he's 42 years of age. Everything except for maybe only two attributes I would give Crawford over Pacquiao is youth and maybe stamina. We don't know if how Pacquiao's stamina is gonna hold up at this point. He made it through the Thurman fight. He didn't look super gassed out or anything. I think he actually slowed down in the Thurman fight. But I think in a lot of people's mind, the one question mark is Pacquiao's stamina and the youth aspect for Terence Crawford. Other than that, I don't see what other advantages he has. I mean, if I said he had the hand speed advantage, I'd be lying to myself. If I said he has the foot speed advantage, I'd be lying to myself. If I said he packs a meaner punch than Pacquiao, I'd be lying to myself. He couldn't knock Kell Brook on his backside. He knocked him out. Yeah, he technically knocked him out. He made the referee stop it, but he didn't knock Terence Crawford Kell Brook on his backside. Manny Pacquiao knocked one of the biggest welterweights of today on his backside with one punch in the first round. So I can't sit here and say any of the attributes other than youth and that's about it. That's really all I give him is the youth aspect, youth and stamina. You know, I can't come up with another attribute I would actually give him other than, hey, he's got the age advantage on Pacquiao, and he could possibly have a stamina advantage on Pacquiao. Other than, I don't see what else you could lay your hat on that he does better than Pacquiao. Jesse Manfanbana. Crawford, appreciate you for coming through, Jesse. I'm sorry if I butchered your last name, man. Manpanbanu. Crawford is scared of the legend even before he is just bark, no bites. If he don't take this fight, man, if they seriously don't take this fight and it's not because of the money, I won't disagree that this might be ducking, even though I hate using that word, because I know for a fact what Bob Arum said about Crawford and Pacquiao. I know that he's afraid of that fight. He was definitely afraid of it 5 or 6 years ago. But obviously, based off what Pacquiao did to Keith Thurman, even though it was over a year ago, they realized that Pacquiao's still a threat. Listen, he knocked one of the biggest welterweights of the day on his backside in the first round with one punch. So I think that says a lot about Manny Pacquiao. Crawford couldn't do that to Kell Brook. Earl Spence couldn't do it to a smaller Mikey Garcia or a smaller Danny Garcia. So the two best welterweights out there, I don't think would have done that to Keith Thurman. I don't think neither one of those guys would have been able to knock Keith Thurman on his butt with one punch in the first round. Especially if they couldn't do it to Brook and they couldn't do it to Mikey Garcia. Adam M says Spence looked like a good, humble kid who tries to fit in too hard with the likes of Broner and Davis. I think they had a bad influence on him. I completely agree with you, man, when you say that, because he looks awkward at times. Because he the one thing him and Terence Crawford have in common is an awkward shyness. So when he talks very humbly, and he talks like a shy person. And Terence Crawford's the same way. You know, he has a very shy, family man type of personality. Because when you get when you get Spence around, like you just said, guys like Broner and Davis and Mayweather, then, he does seem like he's kind of trying to fit in and trying to just not be a hanger-on, but he wants to be all eyes on me. Hey, look at me. I'm hood. I'm just as hood as you guys are. But he doesn't. When you normally see him, he doesn't carry himself like a hood person though. I don't. He's not the type of guy I would ever wanna. If I'm in a situation in the hood, the only reason I would call him is because he's a professional boxer. If it's some gunplay going on, I'm not calling Earl Spence. I'm calling I would call Adrian Broner before I called Earl Spence if it's some gunplay going on. I'd probably call Tank Davis before I called Earl Spence Jr. because he don't seem like that type of guy. If there was some real situation that popped off, the last person who's gonna cross my mind to call is Earl Spence and Terence Crawford. If there's some hood stuff going on, I'm calling Broner and Tank and Tank Davis because I feel like they really from the hood. They really some hood dudes, and even though Broner got shot at, and I think he might have cooperated, but I like Broner because he is real hood, man. He's real hood. When bullets start flying, everybody, things cross everybody's mind. I'm not saying everybody would cooperate, but it is what it is. I feel like Broner and Davis are a little bit more hood than Spence and Crawford are. Adam M said, Bud is actually the one who looked like a street dude, but I know he truly a humble introvert. Exactly. He looks the part because he's dark skinned, man. I think people put that on me a lot because I'm dark skinned. They say I look scary. You know what I'm saying? It makes me feel some type of way. I hate that saying too. I feel some type of way. That sounds stupid, but okay, it makes me feel weird when people approach me and say you look like a gangster, or you look like a tough guy. I don't, because you're dark skinned. I don't get that, but it is what it is. I think it's an advantage at some points because a lot of people don't mess with me because they think something might happen because I'm so dark skinned. It's fear of dark skin, I guess you could say. It's a fear of the darker individual. But Terence Crawford looks a little more gangster because he's dark skinned, I guess. But when you hear him talk and you see how he acts around his family and stuff, you can tell that that's completely not his personality. But the same goes for Spence. He might look the part. He might have $100,000 chain on that you might see some drug dealer wearing. But when you hear him open his mouth and you see his mannerisms and his actions, you be like, man, this ain't no street dude. Ain't no way this dude. Ain't no way this dude's from the streets.
And the complete opposite with Broner. When you hear Broner talk, when you see Broner's mannerisms and his actions, you can tell this guy spent a lot of time in the streets. And some of the goofy stuff he's doing, as far as wasting a lot of money and just being frivolous with his money, and the music that he's made, you can tell Broner has a lot of street influence. And you can tell Mayweather's not from the streets. We all know Mayweather ain't from the streets because his daddy was rich. He came up a rich kid, basically, which is why he has that spoiled kid mentality, and why he kind of acts like that. He was a silver spoon baby, you might as well say. I think that's the reason why him and Broner probably clash. Mayweather wants to be a street guy. Broner is a street guy, and I don't understand why they're even friends, because Broner is more of a street guy than Mayweather is. So I don't understand why he's hanging on to Mayweather, trying to be more street because of Mayweather. You already more hood than Mayweather is. I don't know how I got caught up in that whole gangster talk, but it is what it is, man. Let's move on. Bobby Rick says, I'm pretty sure Spence kind of stopped that lifestyle after the incident. I hope he did, man. As far as like drinking and driving and going that fast in a sports car, you would hope that he would look. I had a incident when I turned 21. I wasn't driving, but I did get in a serious car accident. It's the reason my face is like this. And I went, my face went through a window and stuff. So, I was drunk. I wasn't driving though, but I was drunk. So, a lot of people looked at me like I somehow caused that accident. I'm like, man, I was, it's my birthday and I was drunk, but I wasn't driving. I'm not the one who, and the guy who was driving the car, it wasn't his fault. We got hit, so it is what it is though, man. You can't really blame Spence for an accident. It's not like he did it to himself, like he wanted that to happen, but you would think he would, he wouldn't put himself in those type of positions ever again, especially being a professional boxer. You could see maybe a rapper doing something stupid like that, because, they're always drunk or high, coming from a club or a show or something, so you wouldn't expect a boxer to be acting like that, though. Bobby Rick says, or at least tone it down a bit. Yeah, true, very true. Adam M says, Crawford, bro. LOL, I haven't heard that one. He definitely don't seem like a gangster, man, at all. At all. I couldn't take him seriously as a street guy ever in life. Born Lucky. I mean, he probably whoop your butt, though. I'm not saying, it's a difference between being able to fight and being a street guy. I'm not saying Crawford wouldn't beat up the average drug dealer or the average hood dude. He would totally pick them apart. But if he put himself in that situation, he would put himself in a situation he wouldn't know how to get out of, because he's not from the streets. That's when you get in certain situations, you got to know certain people if you're not of that lifestyle to get you out of them situations. Or you're going to end up in a real, real bad situation. And a deadly situation. Born Lucky says, why no one want to fight Thurman? Thurman's a dangerous fight, man. It's a real dangerous fight. Pacquiao made him look average, but he's definitely not an average fighter. And he gives Spence trouble and he gives Crawford trouble. I think he knocks Crawford out, and he loses by a split decision to Spence. I think that they would favor Spence over Thurman in a decision. Tycho TV, salute to all. Salute, Tycho. Good seeing you, bro. Appreciate you for coming back through, man. Born Lucky. I watch Manny because he's very exciting to watch, man. And there's nobody else more exciting than Manny Pacquiao. Adam M says Thurman begging for Spence, but price himself out of Bud fight. Shake my head. Hope that fool doesn't get a shot, but have to earn it back.
You know, it is what it is, man. Hopefully them guys get it on. But if Pacquiao beats one of them, I think it damages that fight a little bit. Ryan Revel says, I agree 100%. God bless you, Cardinal Red. You speak the truth and back it up with facts 100. Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate you for coming through, too, Ryan, man. Mac D, they need to go on promotion tour like the Floyd fight. And that's the thing, man. We're running out of time here. We don't know if it's going to be a gate. I mean, it does behoove them to do some type of promotional tour. But if they planning on doing this on May 15th, what type of promotional tour are they going to be able to put together in, 6 or 7 weeks? It's going to be hard to sell that fight in 6. I don't think, actually, I take that back. It wouldn't be, but these are two decent names. We talking about Manny Pacquiao and Terence Crawford. I think the fight pretty much sells itself. But I do want them to be less secretive with the negotiation talks. I don't understand why, if both of these guys want to fight, everybody knows it. Why y'all being so secretive with the negotiation talks? Golden King Toys. Bud is ducking hard. If he don't take the fight, I don't like using the word ducking. I put it in the title sometimes just because, people are searching for that. But I will agree that there's some other behind-the-scenes reasons why Crawford and don't want to fight. You can call it ducking if you want to. You can call it pricing yourself out. You can call it whatever you want to call it. But they're avoiding the fight, basically. Culture Mix, what's cracking, bruh? Big bruh, salute to you, Culture Mix. That's what he's been a long time subscriber of mine, man. He always support me on Facebook. Him and Kenny Lopez is one of my biggest supporters on Facebook. So, man, y'all salute Culture Mix, man. Go check his channel out too, man. He does a lot of very culture inspired videos, man. If you like music and you like dancing, you like African culture, black culture, man, go check his channel out because he definitely does do some great videos. I've been checking you out in the background, Culture Mix, bro. Shouts out to you, bro. Big Buff. Shout out from DC. Shout right back to you, big bro. Patrick Carter says, Red, what's cracking, Patrick? Man, good to see you, big bro. Appreciate you for coming back through. Mac D, Manny should take 20 million plus pay-per-view to make it happen. He might have to, man. He might actually have to just take 20 million flat and a smaller percent of the pay-per-view. If this is a pot of money that they talking about, $40 million, he might end up having to take, like 15 to 20 and a very small percent of the pay-per-view for this fight to actually be made. Culture Mix says, ball is in Crawford's corner. Either take the fight or leave that alone. I don't allow cuss words in the chat, Culture Mix, so I can see your comment. I just can't, I don't, because it be kids and older people in here sometimes, and I don't want nobody to feel like they can't be involved in the chat because everybody's cursing and stuff. So I see your comment, bro, and I appreciate it. I leave it hidden. I leave that one, the ones that have curse words in them, hidden. Kabayan, imagine Spencer Crawford be beaten 2 years from now from different fighter. We left this new generation without fighting each other. That would be crazy. If a year down the line or 2 years down the line, some new guy ends up coming along and beating both of those guys and they still have never fought each other. I mean, what would you guys think about that if a scenario like that ends up happening? Like neither one of these guys even end up fighting each other and somebody else comes along, maybe even Pacquiao. Pacquiao could be that guy. I feel like he can beat both of them in my mind. So if Pacquiao takes both of their O's, is that fight even worth watching after that? Do you still want to see Crawford and Spence get it on if Pacquiao ends up taking both of their O's? He fights Crawford, beats him, takes his O, goes to fight Spence, beats him, takes his O, his belt.
Doesn't like Paulie Malignaggi, takes his girlfriend. Why you taking my side piece? Why you don't be talking about you took my side piece. Takes his side piece and goes back to the Philippines with it and retires. I mean, what then? Does anybody want to see Crawford and Spence get it on if Pacquiao takes their belts and takes their side piece and go back to the Philippines? Are those fights even worth watching anymore? I will get back to the chat while y'all chop it up about that. Kambaya says Lee Thurman is out already, and a legacy is left between Spence and Crawford now. Patrick Carter, what's the latest news? Well, if you didn't catch the beginning of the chat of the stream, bro, you can always it's on DVR. You can always replay, go back to that part, and I will repost all of this stuff. But basically, I was going through some articles today, and I found some news about the fight and the negotiation, the 40%, the $40 million that basically Dubai is shut down right now. So they're shutting Dubai down. So there's no possibility of them having a huge live venue for this fight. So it kind of throws a monkey wrench in the money. Is Pacquiao still going to be able to command $40 million for this fight if they're only able to put, 5 or 10,000 people inside of the venue? Because that really throws the money off, because I think they were expecting somewhere around 25 to 30,000 people being able to attend this fight. And that would do really well as far as the gate goes. And then if you add 600, 700, maybe 800,000 pay-per-view buys at $80 a piece, it makes this fight really lucrative. But if they can't put that 30,000 people in the stadium, does Pacquiao have to come down on his money? Is basically what the article was saying. But like I said, you can always go back and just rewind it and catch that beginning part and then come back. I'm gonna be on here for a little while longer. So you won't miss out on too much there, Patrick Carter. Manuel Amara skipped twice. My bad, bro. What did I skip your comment? Culture Mix, my bad, brother. I feel you. Ain't no thing, bro. It's not that big of a deal, man. You ain't gotta apologize for it. I just do that to try to respect the younger kids that are possibly in here, and the older generation of fight fans who might, they might not want to deal with all the cussing stuff. So, which is the reason I don't cuss. I do have I started out with an older fan base, and they don't really want to hear all that. They requested it, so I try to appease everybody over here. We can have a good boxing conversation without cussing each other out. Adam M. MacD, 40 million or no fight, Weezy A-side over her, son. Culture Mix says, I feel Spence is way too flat-footed to beat Manny. And man, I made a video about that too. I got chewed up for that video, but what I can say good about me making that video is after I made that video, not too long after that, Pacquiao came out and was kind of backing up. Not that he saw the video or anything, but he was backing up basically what I said by saying he felt like Spence was slow, his footwork is sloppy, because I said those exact same words. I think I said he's slow and his footwork is sloppy. He has bad footwork. At least in the Danny Garcia fight, he had bad, sloppy footwork. He can always work on it, make it better, fine-tune it, and make it better. But he does have slow, sloppy feet. And that could really cost him that Pacquiao fight. I think that could really, it could potentially get him knocked on his butt like Thurman did. Culture Mix, ha ha ha, side piece. I'm telling you, Pacquiao gonna walk off with both of their side pieces. You know what? They should, if he fights Spence, he should put, Spence should put his chain up. And then Pacquiao should put one of his cars up, just as a friendly wager. That would be something funny. That would be something interesting for fans. So Pacquiao get to wear Earl Spence's chain for a week if he win, and then Earl Spence get to drive Pacquiao's cars for a week. I'm pretty sure he got some of them same cars, but Pacquiao got some real nice cars, man. Kabaya says, yes, because these are the three great
fighter is Bud Spence Thurman. And you know what? It's crazy because before Pacquiao beat Thurman, I actually felt like Thurman was the better of those three fighters, to be honest with you. Because of his size, and he's got decently quick feet. He's got decently quick hands. He lacks in head movement, but all three of those guys lack in head movement and boxing technique. When it comes to Thurman, Crawford and Spence. But before he lost to Pacquiao, I did feel like Thurman was the better out of those three fighters. Born Lucky says Spence not the same fighter after the car accident. Good, he's still alive though. I mean, I do feel like it's of course it's gonna affect you in some kind of way, you know. I had effects from when I got into my car accident. It definitely wasn't it was bad, but it wasn't nowhere near. I didn't fly out of the window. My face did go through the window, but I didn't fly out of the car or anything. But there were lasting effects that took me about a year to kind of shake off. Headaches, you know, throwing up randomly, just really bad headaches, back pain. The headaches was ridiculous. Back problems out of that, you know, some problems with my eye until it kind of healed right, and I'm permanently scarred from it. So, you know, it is what it is, man. But, you know, I'm pretty sure that car accident had some type of lasting effect on Terence Crawford. I mean, on Earl Spence. Whether it's something that will show, or if it's something that he can mask or hide, you know, we'll have to see, but I'm pretty sure it had some type of lasting effect on him. Culture Mix, Pac is a good businessman. You always aim high because most of the time you won't get that. That's very true. You never start negotiations low. You always start them higher, and try to bring them down to the number you really want. So I would say that it could possibly be a bluff number. But it could possibly be that he just wants $40 million flat, and he will let Bob Arum and Terence Crawford, Paradigm, and PBC split the gate and the pay-per-view money. I think that would be a smart move on Pacquiao's part. Patrick Carter threw me a bunch of smiley faces. Adam M., do you think Boots Ennis beats Bud or Spence? I've never seen Boots. I've heard of him. I've seen him interview a few times, but I never actually watched him fight. There's so many new guys around, man. I can't always keep up, especially with the way things are. I try to watch, you know, fights sometimes. Sometimes the streams don't work. Sometimes they're on channels I don't have, so I can't always keep up with everybody. And I don't want to sit here and lie to y'all and be like, oh yeah, I know who this guy is. Yeah, he's the best, you know. So I can always go check him out, study him. Do my real research on them, and then come back later and give you guys my analysis of what I think about those guys. It's the reason I don't really spread myself thin, because I would rather be 100% accurate on one fighter than to sit here and lie to y'all about every fight that's out there. Nobody can cover every fight, man. I think it's ridiculous what some of these channels do, man. But moving on. All right, man. It's been about 2 hours, man. We got about 30 people in here right now. If y'all could please take a little time out and Pacquiao the like button. You know, Spence it if you're a Spence fan. Crawford that button if you're a Crawford fan. If you're a Bob Arum fan, fall asleep and slobber on the like button for me. Just let me know y'all in here. Drop me a comment, man. Probably stay on for about another 10, 15 minutes. So if y'all got any more questions, you know, go on and drop them now before I get out of here, son. Anything else? Let me check and see if there's any new news that didn't drop here within the last couple of hours since we've been on here. Don't look like it. Nothing new. I do want to talk about that, and I'm probably gonna go live for that Broner fight tomorrow, man. During the fight, I do want to talk about the Broner fight a little bit, man. I was gonna make another live and come back on live, but I'll go ahead and talk about it now. Who do y'all got in that Broner fight? Do y'all think Broner is gonna have a successful return to the sport of boxing, or do y'all think his career is pretty much done and this is just a way for him to grab some quick money because if he don't, he's gonna go to jail again. Basically, but I think Broner still has enough. I think he's still young enough and has enough left in the tank to make a decent comeback. I really wish, and I think he was planning on going back down in weight. But what I saw an article, and I guess I can go ahead and read that article that I had. Here it is. Well, they said that that this fight that he's having with Giovanni Santiago was supposed to be at 140 pounds, but neither one of them guys could make weight, and so they just decided to make it 147 pounds instead. Adrian Broner came in at what did they say? Adrian Broner came in at 145.1 pounds. Broner lost close to 40 pounds to make weight for this fight. Santiago is coming in at 100. No, they don't have Santiago's weight on here. What did he come in at? I thought it was on her. 146 pounds. So Broner's 145.1, and then Santiago's 146. So instead of making it a 140 fight, they're actually going to make it a 147 fight, so they can keep the fight. Let me touch on this article a little bit. A weight drained looking Adrian the problem Broner, 33, 3-1, 24 KOs, made weight on Friday, coming in at 146. Okay, so I hit him backwards. 146. So Broner's coming in at 146. Santiago's coming in at 145. 146 pounds for his adjusted weight in for his bout against unbeaten replacement opponent Yanvani Santiago. I know I'm saying his name wrong. 14-0-1, 10 KOs at the Sun Casino. As depleted as Broner looked today, you can't rule out an upset win by Santiago on Saturday night. I'm saying it right now. Broner could lose this fight. We've already seen that Broner is physically incapable of throwing more than a handful of punches per round. Wow. I haven't seen him in sparring or anything, but that's a bold statement to be putting out there the night before his fight. With Broner looking drained from losing close to 40 labs of fat during camp, a fat farm he could be on his way to another defeat. Broner hasn't won a fight since 2017. He looked completely over the hill in his last 3 fights. Santiago weighed in at 145.1 fourth labs in weight in what almost to be his Super Bowl level fight against the former 4-division world champion Broner. In the headlines on Showtime at 9 p.m. This is as good as it gets for the 31-year-old Santiago, who may never get another opportunity for the remainder of his career to face a former star in the sport, even a faded one like AB. What's disturbing about today's weigh-in was how weak Broner looked while he was on the scales. He looked like someone who hadn't eaten a decent meal in weeks, and he clearly had been struggling to try and drop weight. Broner, 31, and Santiago were supposed to be fighting at 140, but it was clear that they both needed the weight to be adjusted upwards by last Thursday. What's interesting is how far off Broner was from being a 140 limit he was supposed to be fighting at. One could understand Broner missing the weight by 2 or 3 rounds, but not 6 labs. Clearly, if the weight hadn't been
readjusted on Thursday to 147, Broner would have come in at 146, and the boxing world would have been let me move on, man. Moving forward, it's anyone's guess what Broner's plans are for him to find success in his comeback. He had said this recently: 140 pounds is the weight that I want to be at. I'm going to stop there. This is a pretty long article, man. I don't want to give the whole thing away. But, wow, it's interesting that he can't make 140 pounds, man. I can't believe he lost 40 pounds that fast. And I think that's the reason why you don't see guys like Canelo or Pacquiao or, Triple G jumping up and down and, making that significant of a weight jump. You can't just go from being 160 pounds to 140 pounds in a couple of months and expect to be competitive in the boxing ring. Like he said, you're going to be so weak you can't even throw punches. It's not even fair in a way. I hope Broner don't get demolished. I want to see him make a decent comeback. But from what they're saying, he's going to get... he could possibly get knocked out in this fight, man. And that's not good for Adrian Broner. What do y'all think about that, man? What do y'all think about how much of a chance do y'all think Broner actually has in this fight? I'm going to get back to these comments real fast. Combined just because they are... Okay, I got that one. Culture Mix. Pack. Okay, I got that one again. Adam M. I have no idea who the other guy is. I've never heard it. I've never heard his name in my life, so I don't know. He's undefeated, so he has a lot to gain by winning this fight. It might, but he's 30-something years old already, so I don't know how much more popular he could possibly become by winning this fight. But he does stand to gain a lot if he does win this fight. As far as status in the boxing world. Adam M. So I got Broner. Born Lucky. Tank car hit and run. Big news. Yeah, I spoke about that earlier, but they're saying that he's not being charged with anything. I think maybe they're just gonna keep this as like a civil case. They're just gonna sue him. They're not filing anything criminal against him. Born Lucky. AB Tank weight bullies. Mac D, what happened to the pay-per-view money outside the U.S.? What do you mean by that, Mac D? What do you mean by what happened to the pay-per-view money outside the U.S.? You mean for the Crawford Pacquiao fight? Basically, what's going on? I mean, it's a lot of stories being bounced around right now. One is that the investors have Pacquiao's $40 million. And that's, they have his money and they want Bob Arum to come up with the rest, which would be the $10 million. Excuse me. I guess he would take a percentage of the gate and pay-per-view money. Another story that came out today is saying that they expecting Bob Arum to come up with the $40 million, which I don't understand. There's another theory out there that perhaps this is a pool of money, a $50 million pool, which Pacquiao will get $40 million. Terence Crawford and Bob Arum will get $10 million. And then they would split the gate and the pay-per-view numbers. What you decide to ride with at this point is anybody's guess, man. Because me personally, I'm going with they already have Pacquiao's money and they're just trying to work out the rest as far as the split between Bob Arum and Terence Crawford. But there's nothing completely official yet because we don't know what's in the contract or, who has this mysterious $40 million. There's supposed to be a group called the Angel Group who's putting up this $40 million, but I haven't heard anything from them or from Bob Arum as far as where this money is supposed to come from. So that's the big news of the day, and as well as they're saying that Dubai would possibly not be able to house this fight due to their neighboring city having some serious surges in Verona cases right now. So the venue could possibly be up in the air
as well. So a lot of news going on right now. Hopefully there'll be a lot more good news coming up here pretty soon. If y'all can get me, if y'all want to, man, I can get back on here. We can discuss more of the Adrian Broner fight. I don't know how many people are actually interested in this fight. I still want to watch it just because I like Broner. I just want to support Broner. I hope he does well, but it's not looking good. It's not looking good for Broner right now. Let's see. Kambaya says Pac's fastest timeline to unify with Bud Spence is 1 year. Then he will be 43 years old. After that, he will lost the belts, and then emerging champ will be Thurman and Spence. They are still young. I can see that happening, man. It could possibly play out that way. It could possibly play out in that Pacquiao beats both of these guys, retire, the belts become vacated, and Thurman gets the belts, becomes the unified champion of the world. Or what if Teofimo moves up and starts, dominating these guys like we said earlier? What if there's somebody new that comes along who beats both of those guys? I mean, a lot of stuff at play right now when it comes to the welterweight division. A lot of ways this could play itself out. It's been 2 hours, man. Y'all go ahead. We got 20 people in the chat right now. If y'all could please Pacquiao that like button for me. If you're not a Pacquiao fan, well, Spence it. If you're a Crawford fan, run from it. If you're a Bob Arum fan, fall asleep on it for me. Just let me know y'all in here. Drop me a comment. I'm going to stay on for about another 5 minutes. Answer any more questions that are out there about this possible fight that I might not have answered. Any other questions that y'all got. And then I'm going to go find me something to eat, man. If y'all want to get back on here and talk about the Broner fight later, man, let me know now, man, down in the comment section. If y'all can give me 25 likes before I get out of here, I really appreciate it. And definitely, man, if y'all want to be a part of the Red Room Sports, Ali Land Boxing Talk community, or, any of the other communities that I have, definitely get at me, bro. We can definitely make something happen. Y'all see, me and Caps are putting it together. We getting that working, and we starting to collab with each other. I'm willing to work with anybody else who wants to work together, man. I'm down for that. So, just holler at me. Pac says, "Yo, LOL, I'm late." He's late again, Pac. You late again? Hit that like button for me. I appreciate that, Pac, man. We were just discussing basically the news that dropped today about the possible venue not being able to house as many fans as maybe Pacquiao and his team would have liked, because the neighboring city in Dubai. Then that doesn't mean they can't take it to Qatar, because I heard that that's where they were going to do it at anyway. When they were talking about it the first time, it was going to be in Qatar. So they could possibly take it to Qatar. Maybe they're open. I'm going to have to do some more research about that. But there's a possibility that the venue might not be as big as what they were expecting, and that could possibly affect the split of the money. That's what we were talking about today. The $10 million is that possibly going to have an effect on this fight if you came in late. I will be reposting this up, man. Y'all can go back and check it out like I do with all of them. That's a DVR, but I'm about to get off of her in the next couple of minutes, so no need to really run it back. If y'all got any more questions, go on and drop them now, man. We got 24 people in here right now, man. Hit the like button, drop me a comment as you come in. Let me know y'all in here. Pacquiao that like button for me. Let me know now, man, before I get out of here, because I'm definitely trying to get me something to eat real fast. I'm hungry, man. I'm hungry. Appreciate everybody for coming through. Born Lucky says, thank you. Pac says, thanks for the recap. No problem, bro. No problem at all, bro. Appreciate all y'all for coming through, man. What y'all want to talk about next time, man? Y'all want to talk about the Broner fight later, or y'all want to wait till tomorrow on that? Because I'm definitely going to go live for that fight. We can save it for tomorrow. If I find any new news, I might just come back on here again, maybe in an hour or two, and drop if there is some new news out there surrounding Pacquiao versus Terence Crawford potential fight for May 15th or May 1st, Cinco de Mayo, 2021.
there are no more questions, man, please, well, can I get one more like, man? If y'all can give me one more like before I get out of here, I give me the 25. I really appreciate that, bro. LOL, Broner. I don't know if Broner got a chance in this fight, man. If he's looking that weight drained, I haven't seen any sparring or him doing any training other than what he looked like about 2 months ago. Haven't seen him recently, so I'm not sure how he looks right now. I'm gonna have to go check that out and see what's going on with Broner, man. See if he can actually put up a fight, or is he gonna get demolished tomorrow? I'm a ride with Broner. I hope he wins, man. I like Broner, man. I want him to have some more success, so he can get these bills paid off and get his life back together, man. You don't want to see nobody go down in the fashion that Broner's going down in, bro. So if that's it, man, I think I'm gonna go on and get out of here, son. If you ain't got no more questions, I'm about to get out of here. All right, people, man. Salute, man. Salute. I appreciate everybody for coming through. If there's any new news, like I said, I will get back on here, share it with y'all a little later. But for now, that's it, man. I hope y'all come back, rewatch the stream if you missed any parts of it. That way you can get completely caught up. Damn, you could you said demolished. He might get demolished, man. We don't know, man. We don't know. This might be real ugly for Adrian Broner, man. But if that's the last comment, bro, can y'all give it? I'm gonna give it 1 minute. 1 minute before I get out of here. My stomach's rumbling. I'm hungry. My head hurt. I'm about to pass out. Can y'all give me one more like? Is there one person in here who hasn't hit the like button so we can get to 25 likes, man? I would really, really appreciate that, man. That's what really gets me amped up to continue making content, man. When I see people really, really appreciate what I do, and they really enjoy, even just a little bit, they enjoy what I do. You know, if it's a little entertaining for you, or if it's good news, bad news for you, it's boxing news. So I appreciate that, man. I appreciate the 24 I did get. So I think I'm about to get out of here, man. If that's new news, I will see you guys in a little while. If not, I'll see you guys tomorrow for some Pacquiao news and for the Broner fight. It's your boy Cardinal Red, man, and we are out of here.